The message arrived on a Tuesday morning, appearing simultaneously on every major communication network across Earth. It was not sent through any human technology. The words simply appeared on screens worldwide, written in perfect English, Chinese, Spanish, Arabic, and dozens of other languages. Greetings to the people of Earth. We are the Galactic Council. We invite your species to join our ancient alliance. A representative delegation will be welcomed aboard our station in 7 days. We await your response. Tae Min Park stood in the emergency meeting room beneath the United Nations building in New York. Around the table sat world leaders, military commanders, and scientists. The room buzzed with nervous energy and whispered conversations in multiple languages. Tae Ming adjusted his glasses and looked at the holographic display showing the alien message. They know our languages, President Myung-han said from her seat at the head of the table. This suggests they have been watching us for some time. Tae Min nodded. As Earth's leading expert on theoretical alien contact protocols, he had spent years preparing for this moment. He never imagined it would actually happen. The message is remarkably formal, he observed. They treat this as a diplomatic invitation, not a first contact situation. This implies they consider us equals, at least in some capacity. General. Jin Woo Kim leaned forward in his chair. His military uniform displayed medals from 3 different conflicts. Or they are being polite before making demands, he said. We know nothing about their intentions or capabilities. That is why we need to send a delegation, Tae Min replied. We need information. We need to understand what they want and what they are offering. The debate continued for hours. Some leaders wanted to ignore the message entirely. Others suggested immediate military preparation, but eventually the decision was unanimous. Earth would send representatives to meet with this Galactic Council. Tae-Min found himself chosen to lead the delegation. His background in xenobiology and his diplomatic training made him the obvious choice. Jin Woo would serve as security chief, despite his obvious discomfort with the situation. Dr. Hae-Won Lee, a brilliant quantum physicist, would analyze any technology they encountered. The 3 of them would represent all of humanity. 3 days. Later, they stood on the observation deck of the International Space Station, looking out at something that should not exist. The alien ship hung in space like a small moon. It was easily 10 kilometers long and perfectly smooth, with no visible engines or weapons. It simply waited. How did it get here so fast? Hae-Won whispered, her scientific mind struggling with the implications. Even traveling at light speed, they could not have arrived so quickly after sending the message. Maybe they were already here, Jin Woo suggested grimly, watching and waiting. A small shuttle detached from the alien vessel and approached the space station. It moved without any visible propulsion, gliding through space as if gravity meant nothing. The docking was flawless and silent. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. The figure that stepped through was tall and thin, wearing a simple silver suit that seemed to shimmer with its own light. Its face was humanoid, but clearly alien, with large dark eyes and pale blue skin. When it spoke, the words came from a small device on its chest, translating its thoughts into perfect English. I am diplomatic aide Zephyr. I welcome Earth's representatives to the Galactic Council. Please follow me to the transport vessel. The alien shuttle's interior was beautiful beyond description. Walls of what looked like liquid crystal displayed star charts and alien writing. The seats adjusted automatically to human anatomy. As they departed the space station, Tae Min watched Earth grow smaller through the transparent walls. How long have you been watching us? He asked Zephyr. Your species has been under observation for approximately 50 of your years, the alien replied, without hesitation. Standard protocol requires detailed study before extending council membership. And what exactly is the Galactic Council? HFY asked, her recorder device capturing every word. An alliance of 12 species, formed over 3,000 years ago. We maintain peace, facilitate trade, and provide technological advancement to member civilizations. Your species shows great potential for membership. Jin Woo remained silent, but Tae-min noticed how his eyes constantly scanned the shuttle, looking for weapons or defensive systems. The soldier was making mental notes about everything they saw. The journey to the main alien vessel took only minutes, but stepping aboard was like entering another world. The corridors were vast and filled with beings that seemed to come from different planets entirely. A creature that looked like a walking tree nodded politely as they passed. Something that resembled a floating jellyfish with mechanical arms drifted by overhead. The council station houses representatives from all member species, Zephahar explained. It serves as neutral ground for diplomatic meetings and cultural exchange. Their quarters were luxurious beyond anything on Earth. Each room was perfectly climate-controlled and furnished with items that seemed designed specifically for human comfort. Fresh fruit sat on tables, including varieties that definitely came from Earth. The message was clear. They knew humans very well. "We will rest tonight," Zephahar announced. "Tomorrow, you will meet with Council Speaker Vrexthil and receive the Prosperity Compact. This document outlines the benefits and responsibilities of Council membership." After the alien left, the three humans gathered in Tae-min's room. Jin Woo immediately began checking for listening devices, while HFY set up her scanning equipment. "Something feels wrong about this," Jin Woo said quietly. "They are too prepared, too ready for us." Tae-min understood his concern. "They have been watching us for 50 years, Jin Woo. Of course they are prepared." "No," HFY interrupted, looking up from her quantum scanner. "Jin Woo is right. Look at these readings." She showed them the device's display. "The technology here is incredibly advanced, but it is all designed for control. Every system I scan has monitoring capabilities built in." "Maybe that is normal for them," Tae-min suggested, though doubt crept into his voice. "Maybe," HFY replied. "But I am detecting quantum signatures that suggest information gathering beyond simple environmental monitoring. They are not just watching our environment. They are studying us." Jin Woo moved to the window and looked out at the stars. Dozens of alien ships floated around the massive station. "We need to be very careful tomorrow. This Prosperity Compact, whatever it is, we should not agree to anything until we understand it completely." Tae-min nodded. He had hoped this first. Contact would be the beginning of a new golden age for humanity. Now he wondered if they were walking into a trap that had been 50 years in the making. Outside their window, the stars looked different somehow, more distant, as if Earth was already much farther away than it should be. Tae-min woke to the sound of soft music playing from hidden speakers in the walls. The melody was strangely beautiful, almost hypnotic. He sat up quickly, suddenly alert. The music stopped immediately. "Good morning, Ambassador Park," came a gentle voice from nowhere. "Council Speaker Vrexthil will see you in 2 hours. Please prepare yourself and your delegation." Jin Woo was already awake when Tae-min knocked on his door. The soldier looked like he had not slept at all. "The music," Jin Woo said immediately. "Did you hear it?" "Yes, it stopped when I woke up fully." "Same here. I think it was designed to keep us sleeping longer than normal." Jin Woo showed Tae-min his watch. "I have been awake for 3 hours. But the room kept playing that music every time I started to feel fully alert." They found HFY in her room, surrounded by equipment and looking excited. "I have been working all night," she announced. "Look at this." She pointed to her quantum scanner's display. "I managed to tap into their data streams. The information I found is very interesting. What kind of information? Tamian asked. First, this station is not just a meeting place. It is a massive data collection facility. Every conversation, every movement, every biological function of every visitor is being recorded and analyzed. HFY pulled up another screen. But more importantly, I found references to something called the Prosperity Compact. It mentions 12 species that have signed it. The 12 council members, Jinwoo said. Yes, but here is the strange part. I found historical data about these species. Before joining the council, they were all expanding civilizations with their own space travel technology. After joining, their expansion stopped completely. They became dependent on council resources for everything. Tamin felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Dependent how? All their faster-than-light travel is provided by council ships. All their advanced manufacturing is done at council facilities. All their interstellar communication goes through council networks. They gave up their independence for convenience and safety. Before Tae-Ming could respond, their door chimed. Zephahar entered without waiting for permission. Good morning, humans. Are you ready to meet with the council speaker? The walk through the station's corridors gave them more opportunities to observe. Tae-Min noticed that while there were many different alien species present, they all wore similar clothing and carried similar devices. There was a uniformity that felt unnatural. Zephahar, Tae-Min said carefully, how long has your species been part of the council? The Zeph joined 800 years ago, the alien replied proudly. It was the beginning of our golden age. We no longer needed to struggle with the difficulties of space travel or resource management. A council provides everything we need. What about exploration? Discovery? Don't your people want to see new worlds? Zephahar looked confused by the question. Why would we need to explore? The council has already mapped the galaxy. They tell us about any worlds we might find interesting. It is much more efficient. Jingwoo and HFY exchanged worried glances behind the alien's back. The council chambers were enormous, with a domed ceiling that showed real-time images of space. 12 different types of beings sat in a circle around a central platform. At the center stood the largest creature Tae-Min had ever seen. Council speaker Vrexthil was easily 3 meters tall and covered in dark scales. His eyes were ancient and intelligent, but there was something cold about them. When he spoke, his voice filled the entire chamber. Welcome, humans of Earth. I am pleased to finally meet your species in person. The speaker's words were formal, but somehow felt rehearsed. We have observed your rapid development with great interest. Your species shows remarkable potential. Thank you for this opportunity, Tae-Min replied diplomatically. We are honored by your invitation. The honor is ours. Few species develop space travel so quickly. Most take centuries longer to reach your current level. Vrexthil gestured to an aide, who brought forward a crystalline device. This contains the Prosperity Compact. It outlines the benefits your species will receive as council members. The crystal was warm to the touch and seemed to pulse with its own light. When Tae-Min touched it, information flowed directly into his mind. Images of vast space fleets, beautiful cities on distant worlds, and advanced technologies beyond imagination. Impressive, HFY whispered, though her voice carried a note of concern. The compact offers your species protection, technological advancement, and access to thousands of worlds, Vrexthil continued. In return, you will contribute to council stability and follow council guidelines for development and expansion. What kind of guidelines? Jinwoo asked bluntly. Several council members shifted in their seats. Vrexthil's expression did not change. Practical guidelines. Resource allocation, territorial boundaries, technological sharing protocols. Nothing that will restrict your species' natural growth. But Tae-Min caught something in the speaker's tone, a carefully controlled emphasis on certain words. This was a sales pitch, not a negotiation. "We would like time to study the compact thoroughly," Taemin said. "This is a decision that will affect our entire species. Of course, you have 72 hours to review the document and provide your response. Your quarters have been prepared, with all necessary resources." As they left the chambers, Taemin noticed how the other council species watched them. There was something in their expressions he could not identify. Pity? Warning? Fear? Back in their quarters, HFY immediately began analyzing the crystal device. "This is incredible technology," she muttered, connecting it to her scanners. "But there are layers of information here that are encrypted." "Can you break the encryption?" Taemin asked. "Maybe, but I will need help." HFY looked up from her work. "We need to contact Earth. I need our best cryptologists working on this." Jin Woo was already setting up a communication device. "I brought this as backup," he explained. "It uses quantum entanglement for instant communication. Completely undetectable." Within an hour, they had established contact with Earth. Dr. So-Young Choi, Earth's top codebreaker, was brought into the conversation, along with cultural expert Dr. Jae Hyun Yoon. "Send us everything you can about this compact," So-Young said, "through the quantum link, and anything else you have discovered about the council species." For the next 12 hours, they worked frantically. HFY gathered data while Jinwoo monitored for security threats. Taemin coordinated with Earth. While trying to maintain normal diplomatic appearances, the breakthrough came at 3 in the morning, ship time. So-Young's excited voice came through the communicator. "We cracked it. Taemin, this compact is not what they claim it is." "What do you mean?" "The encrypted sections contain the real terms. Every species that signs gives up military independence, technological development rights, and territorial expansion authority. They become permanent junior partners, dependent on the Council for everything." Jae Hyun's voice joined the conversation. "I analyzed the behavioral patterns you recorded. These Council species are not allies. They are client states. Comfortable, well-fed, but completely controlled." Taemin felt the bottom drop out of his stomach. "So this invitation is an offer of slavery with excellent benefits," So-Young finished grimly. "The question is, what do we do about it?" The emergency session in Geneva lasted 18 hours. President Mi Young-han sat at the head of a table surrounded by world leaders, military commanders, and scientists. The decoded Prosperity Compact displayed on screens around the room. Its true terms now visible to everyone. "They want us to give up our military," General Chong Min-Roo said, his voice tight with anger. "All human weapons systems would be dismantled. All defense research would stop. We would depend entirely on Council protection. Not just military," added Dr. Dong Hyeon Lim, director of Earth's Defense Research Institute. "Look at Section 47. All space exploration beyond designated sectors requires Council approval. They would control where humanity can go and what we can discover." President Han studied the document carefully. "And our technology development?" "Severely limited," replied Dr. Thi Jin Kwan, Earth's chief scientist. "We could only research technologies that the Council approves. Anything they consider sensitive or dangerous would be forbidden." "Dangerous to whom?" asked the Brazilian president. "To their control," Dr. Kwan answered grimly. "They fear species that might challenge their authority." The room fell silent as the full implications sank in. Admiral Kyung Soo Bae, commander of Earth's Space Force, spoke first. "We cannot accept this. It would end human independence forever." "But can we refuse it?" asked the Japanese Prime Minister. "Their technology is clearly superior to ours. If we say no, what stops them from simply taking what they want by force?" Dr. Kwan smiled for the first time in days. That brings me to some very important news. Something the Council does not know about us. She activated a holographic display, showing technical diagrams. For the past 15 years, we have been working on our own faster-than-light drive system. The room erupted in surprised voices. President Han raised her hand for silence. Explain. In 2010, we recovered debris from what we now know was a Council scout ship that crashed in Siberia. We have been reverse engineering their technology ever since. But we did not simply copy it, we improved it. Dr. Kwan changed the display to show a sleek ship design. Their FTL system manipulates space-time, bending it to reduce travel distances. Our system does something different. We fold dimensional space itself, allowing instant transport across any distance. Instant? Admiral Bay asked, leaning forward. Completely instant, no travel time at all. While their fastest ships take days to cross a solar system, our prototype can move from Earth to Pluto in 0 time. The implications hit everyone at once. How many ships? President Han asked quietly. Currently, we have 12 operational vessels hidden in various locations throughout the solar system. And we have been building more. Dr. Kwan's smile grew wider. The Council believes we are a primitive species barely capable of reaching our own moon. They have no idea what we are actually capable of. What about weapons? General Ru asked. Our ships carry plasma cannons based on fusion reactor technology. Nothing exotic, but effective. More importantly, they carry something the Council species have forgotten how to make, which is nuclear weapons. Lots of them. The room went completely silent. Dr. Kwan continued. The Council species gave up weapons of mass destruction centuries ago. They depend on Council peacekeepers for protection. But we never gave up ours. We made them better. Admiral Bay stood up slowly. Are you telling me that humanity has a secret space fleet armed with nuclear weapons? Not just nuclear. Fusion. Bombs. Antimatter missiles. Weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Dr. Kwan's expression became serious. We prepared for the possibility that first contact might not go well. President Han absorbed this information carefully. Can we defeat them if they attack? In open battle? Probably not. They have thousands of ships and superior technology. But we do not need to defeat them. We just need to show them that conquering humanity would cost more than they are willing to pay. The debate continued through the night. Some leaders argued for accepting the compact and working to change it from within. Others wanted immediate military preparation. But gradually, consensus emerged. We vote, President Han announced as dawn broke over Geneva. All in favor of rejecting the Council's offer? Every hand rose. Back on the Council station, Tae Min received the encrypted message from Earth. The decision was unanimous. Now he had to deliver humanity's response to beings who had never been told no before. Are you ready for this? Jin Woo asked as they prepared to return to the Council chambers. No, Tae Min admitted, but it is the right choice. Freedom is always worth the risk. Hae-Won packed her scanning equipment carefully. I have sent all our data back to Earth. At least they will know what we learned here. The Council chambers felt different this time, more tense. Frexthul waited on the central platform, his ancient eyes fixed on the human delegation. Ambassador Park, the speaker began, have you reached a decision regarding the Prosperity Compact? Tae Min stepped forward, carrying the crystal device. We have, Council Speaker. After careful consideration and extensive consultation with our people, humanity must respectfully decline your offer. The silence that followed was deafening. 12 different species stared at the humans in shock. Several council members began speaking at once in their native languages, their translators struggling to keep up. Brexthul raised one massive hand, and the chamber fell silent. Decline? His voice carried disbelief. No species has ever declined. Council membership. Then we are the first, Tae-min replied calmly. We are grateful for your interest in humanity, but we choose to develop as an independent species. You do not understand, Vrexthal said, his tone becoming harder. The galaxy is dangerous. There are hostile forces that would destroy your species without council protection. Pirates, raiders, ancient automated weapons. You cannot survive alone. We appreciate your concern, but we believe humanity can handle its own challenges. Your technology is primitive, another council member interjected. Your weapons are crude. Your ships are slow. You will be destroyed within a generation. Jin Wu stepped forward. That is our choice to make. Vrexthal's scales darkened with what might have been anger. Very well, but understand this, humans. By rejecting our protection, you have chosen isolation. No council species may trade with you, communicate with you, or provide you with assistance of any kind. You will be alone in the darkness. We understand, Tae-min said. We thank you for clarifying the consequences. Furthermore, Vrexthal continued, your species will be confined to your current solar system. Any attempt to expand beyond those boundaries will be considered an act of aggression against council space. The threat was clear now. This was not just rejection of membership. This was imprisonment. We will return to Earth immediately, Tae-min announced. No, Vrexthal said firmly. Your ship will be escorted to the edge of your solar system. After that, you will have no further contact with the Council or any of its member species. As security forces surrounded them, Tae-min realized they had just declared independence from the most powerful alliance in the galaxy. The easy path had been rejected. Now came the hard part. But as they were led away, he felt something he had not expected. Pride. Humanity had chosen freedom over safety, independence over comfort. Whatever happened next, they would face it as a free species. The war for human independence was about to begin. The Council fleet arrived at Earth's solar system like a dark cloud blotting out the stars. 300 ships of various sizes and designs surrounded the outer planets, establishing a blockade that stretched from Neptune to Jupiter. On Earth, people looked up at the night sky and saw new stars that had not been there the day before. Admiral Yoonji Park stood in the command center deep beneath the Swiss Alps, watching the tactical display with calm eyes. She had been preparing for this moment for 15 years. Around her, officers from every nation on Earth coordinated humanity's response to the blockade. Council fleet is holding position at 15 astronomical units from the sun, reported Captain Haiyan Wu Zhang from his ship hidden behind one of Jupiter's moons. They are not advancing, but they are scanning everything. Every asteroid, every satellite, every piece of space debris. They are looking for our ships, Admiral Park said. Let them look. They will not find what they do not expect to see. Dr. Minho Shin, Earth's lead defense engineer, pointed to another section of the display. Our orbital platforms are fully operational. Fusion reactors at maximum output. If they try to get close to Earth, we can make them regret it. The blockade had been in place for 2 weeks. The Council expected humanity to panic, to beg for negotiations, to accept any terms rather than face isolation. Instead, Earth continued its normal activities as if nothing had changed. Admiral, came a voice from the communication station. We are receiving a transmission from the Council flagship. Put it through. The image of Council Speaker Vrexthal appeared on the main screen. His reptilian features showed obvious frustration. Admiral Park, I presume. I am Council Speaker Vrexthal. We need to discuss your species situation. Speaker Vrexthal, Admiral Park replied phonally. What would you like to discuss? Your refusal to accept Council guidance has forced us. To implement Protocol 7, your species is now under complete quarantine. No ships may leave your solar system. No communication may reach other species. You are cut off from galactic civilization. We understand. Vrexthal's eyes narrowed. Do you? Your people will run out of resources. Your technology will stagnate. Your population will eventually decline. This isolation will destroy your species. Admiral Park smiled slightly. That is your opinion, Speaker. We believe humanity can thrive. Without Council guidance, impossible. No species survives alone. The galaxy is too dangerous, too vast. You need our protection, our technology, our resources. Thank you for your concern, but we will manage. The connection ended abruptly. Around the command center, officers exchanged grins. Admiral Park had just told the most powerful alliance in the galaxy that humanity did not need them. It was either the bravest thing anyone had ever done, or the most foolish. 3 days later, the first test came. A Council patrol discovered human mining operations on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. The alien ships moved in to investigate, expecting to find primitive equipment and frightened workers. Instead, they found Captain Haiyan Wu waiting for them. The Soul's Pride materialized out of dimensional fold space directly behind the Council. Patrol. One moment the space was empty. The next moment, a sleek human warship hung there like a metal predator. Council vessels, Captain Haiyan Wu transmitted. You are in violation of human territorial space. Please withdraw immediately. The Council ships spun around in confusion. Their sensors had detected nothing until the human ship simply appeared. The patrol leader, a nervous Zeph named Kilver, responded with obvious shock. Human vessel. How? Did you arrive so quickly? Our sensors showed no approach. We do not need to approach, Council ship. We simply arrive. This is your final warning. Withdraw from human space. You cannot threaten Council forces. Your technology is primitive. Your weapons are no match for ours. Captain Haiyan Wu sighed. Very well. You asked for a demonstration. The Soul's Pride fired a single plasma burst. Not at the Council ships, but at a nearby asteroid. The rock, roughly the size of a city block, simply vanished. Vaporized instantly. Our weapons may be primitive, Captain Haiyan Wu said calmly, but they work very well. Please withdraw, or we will demonstrate them on your ships instead of rocks. Council patrol retreated immediately. Within hours, reports reached the Council flagship. Human ships were appearing throughout the solar system. Not just one or two, but dozens. They emerged from dimensional fold space without warning, patrolled their territories, and vanished again just as quickly. How many ships do they have? Vrexthal demanded of his intelligence officers. We cannot determine, Speaker. They appear and disappear too quickly for accurate counting. Our estimates range from 50 to over 200 vessels. That is impossible. Our observers reported no major shipbuilding facilities on Earth. Perhaps they built them in secret, Speaker. Or perhaps they built them somewhere else. Vrexthal studied the tactical reports with growing concern. The humans were not behaving like a trapped species. They were acting like they owned the solar system. 2 weeks later, the situation became much worse for the Council. Intelligence Chief Su Bin Yang had been busy since the blockade began. Her agents, working from hidden bases throughout human space, had been conducting their own observations. Admiral, Su Bin reported, we have a problem. Or rather, the Council has a problem, and we need to decide how to handle it. Explain. Our ships have been conducting reconnaissance missions outside the solar system. We have been watching Council territories, studying their patrol patterns, analyzing their communications. Admiral Park raised an eyebrow. And what did we find? The Council species are not happy. Several of them are asking questions about the human blockade. They want to know why the Council is spending so many resources to contain one small species. Interesting. More than interesting, Admiral. The Hectar species has formally requested permission to establish trade relations with humanity. They were refused, of course, but they asked. That has never happened before. Dr. Shin looked up from his engineering reports. You mean other species want to trade with us? 3 species so far. The Hectar want our fusion technology. The Velinari are interested in our dimensional fold drives. The Core Thol want to buy human music and art. Admiral Park sat down slowly. The Council's blockade is not just keeping us in. It is keeping others out. They are afraid that if other species see what humanity can offer, they might start questioning Council authority. Exactly. And there is more. Our reconnaissance ships detected something very interesting near the edge of Council space. Su Bin activated a holographic display showing star charts. There are dozens of non-Council species out there. Entire civilizations that never joined the Council alliance. Some of them are very advanced. How advanced? One species, the Tormakai, has technology that rivals the Council's. They have been independent for over 1,000 years. If they knew about humanity's rejection of the Council, they might be very interested in forming an alliance. Admiral. Park stood up and walked to the main display, showing the Council blockade. Those ships represented the most powerful alliance in known space. But they also represented fear. Fear that humanity might inspire other species to choose independence over security. Captain Zhang, she said into her communicator, double quotes, yes, Admiral? How? Would you like to take a little trip beyond our solar system? I think it is time we introduced ourselves to some of our neighbors. It would be my pleasure, Admiral. The Soul's Pride vanished into dimensional fold space, leaving the Council blockade behind. For the first time in galactic history, the quarantine was working both ways. The Council could keep others away from humanity, but they could not keep humanity away from others. The real war was just beginning. 6 months after the blockade began, the Galactic Council faced a crisis unlike anything in their 3,000-year history. Council Speaker Vrextil stood before an emergency assembly, his ancient scales dulled with stress and fatigue. The human situation has become uncontainable, he announced to the gathered representatives. Despite our complete blockade, they continue to expand their influence across the galaxy. Trade Minister Co. Jun Oh smiled as he read the latest reports from his office on Earth. The numbers were remarkable. 12 non-Council species had established direct trade agreements with humanity. The Tormakai had shared advanced shield technology in exchange for human fusion reactors. The Hectar were building ships using human dimensional fold drives. The Velinari had opened their entire territory to human exploration. How did this happen so quickly? President Mi Young-han asked during their weekly briefing. Simple, Co. Jun replied. We offered them something the Council never did. Choice. Freedom to trade what they wanted, when they wanted, with whoever they wanted. Ambassador Young-hee Kang, who had replaced Tae-min as humanity's chief diplomatic officer, added her perspective. The Council controlled everything through dependency. Species needed Council permission to trade, to travel, to research new technology. We showed them they could do all of that independently. Dr. Ji-hoon Park, director of the Human-Alien Technology Exchange, pulled up a holographic display showing trade routes. Look at this network. 6 months ago, these species barely communicated with each other. Now they have a thriving trade network that completely bypasses Council space. The transformation had been dramatic. Human ships, using their dimensional fold technology, could transport goods and people across vast distances instantly. A Tormakai merchant could send products to Hectar space in hours instead of weeks. Scientific research that once required. Council approval now happened freely between species. But the real shock to the Council came from within their own alliance. 3 council species have formally requested withdrawal from the compact. Vrexthel continued his address to the assembly. The Velinari, the Zeekthari, and the Mordon have all submitted official notices of intent to leave. The chamber erupted. In chaos, council member species shouting in dozens of languages. The translation systems struggled to keep up with the overlapping conversations. "This is impossible," declared the head representative. "No species has ever left the council." "The humans have shown them that independence is possible," replied the Quinn delegate quietly. "They see what freedom looks like." General Chang Min-Ryu reviewed the military reports with satisfaction. The Council's blockade still surrounded Earth's solar system, but it had become meaningless. Human ships came and went as they pleased, using dimensional fold technology to bypass the blockade entirely. More importantly, other species were beginning to question why such a massive fleet was needed to contain one small planet. "The Tormakai have offered to provide military support if the Council attacks us directly," he reported to Admiral Yunji Park. "Do we need it?" she asked. "Probably not. The Council is afraid to attack because they know it would prove to the entire galaxy that they maintain power through force, not cooperation. But having allies willing to fight alongside us sends a powerful message." A message was being received. Across Council space, member species watched human ships trading freely with independent civilizations. They saw the technology exchanges, the cultural sharing, the scientific cooperation that happened without Council oversight or approval. The Hektar homeworld, Dr. The Jing Quan, worked alongside alien scientists to develop new forms of clean energy. Her research was shared immediately with all interested species, not restricted by Council regulations about technology transfer. "This is how science should work," her Hektar colleague Victor explained during one of their late-night research sessions. "Ideas shared freely, knowledge building on knowledge, discovery limited only by imagination." "Why did the Council restrict research?" the Jinn asked. "Control. If species can solve their own problems, they do not need the Council. If they cannot research advanced technology, they must depend on Council facilities." The breaking point came when the Velinari officially announced their withdrawal from the Council. Ambassador Young Hee stood in the Council chambers as a guest of the Velinari delegation, watching as they formally rejected 3 centuries of membership. "We thank the Council for their protection and guidance," the Velinari representative announced. "But our species chooses to join the Free Stars Coalition, established by humanity and our new allies." Vrexthel's rage was visible to everyone in the chamber. "You are making a grave mistake. Without Council protection, your species will be vulnerable to every threat in the galaxy. We prefer freedom with risk to safety without choice," the Velinari replied calmly. 2 days later, the Zeekthari and Mordon announced their own withdrawals. The Council's unity was fracturing within weeks. The remaining Council species faced impossible choices. Their populations were demanding explanations. Why were humans and their allies prospering while Council species remained restricted? Why did other civilizations have freedoms that Council members did not? The Zeph were the next to break. Then the Quinn. Then the Het. 6 months after humanity rejected the Prosperity Compact, the Galactic Council collapsed. The new Galactic Assembly met on a neutral station built jointly by humans and their allies. Instead of a hierarchical council with one dominant authority, it was a parliament of equals. Each species had representation based on their population and contribution to the alliance. Ambassador Young Hee delivered the opening address to delegates from 47 different species. "We gather not as subjects seeking permission, but as partners seeking cooperation," she began. "The Free Stars Coalition represents a new vision for galactic civilization, one based on mutual respect, voluntary association, and the fundamental right of every species to choose their own path among the stars. The applause came from dozens of different types of beings, creating a symphony of approval that filled the chamber. Trade. Minister Co. Jun established new commercial agreements that boosted prosperity across the galaxy. Scientific cooperation. Accelerated technological development beyond anything seen in centuries. Cultural exchanges enriched every participating civilization. But perhaps the most important change was philosophical. Species no longer accepted that security required surrendering. Freedom. They no longer believed that advancement required dependence. T-Min Park, now serving as Earth's ambassador to the Free Stars Coalition, stood on the observation deck of the new assembly station. Through the transparent walls, he could see ships from dozens of worlds coming and going freely. Human vessels with dimensional fold drives worked alongside Tornakai ships with advanced shields and Hektar vessels with powerful engines. "Do you ever regret it?" Young-hee asked, joining him at the window. "Rejecting the Council's offer? Everything that followed could have been avoided if we had simply accepted their protection." Tai-Min smiled. "Look out there. Look at what we built instead. 47 species working together as equals. Scientific advances that benefit everyone. Trade that enriches all participants. Cultural exchange that expands every civilization's understanding. And freedom," Young-hee added. "And freedom," Tai-Min agreed. "The Council offered us safety at the cost of our independence. We chose risk with the possibility of something better. Not just for humanity, but for everyone." A new ship appeared outside the station, emerging from dimensional fold space. It bore the markings of a species from the far edge of the galaxy, one that had just made contact with the Coalition. "Another new member?" Young-hee asked. "Another species choosing freedom. Over dependency," Tai-Min replied. "The galaxy is vast, and there are many civilizations still waiting to learn that they have a choice." The future stretched before them, full of possibilities that the old Council had never imagined. Humanity had not just rejected a proposal. They had rejected the idea that freedom must be sacrificed for security. In doing so, they had given the galaxy something it had forgotten existed: hope.